Good morning, everyone. My name is Maggie. Today, I'm going to talk about the EU, short for the European Union. Actually, it is a part of one of my courses called An Introduction to the European Union Law. Honestly, it is quite complicated and boring subject, so I try my best to make it more interesting. And before we are approaching to the main content of this course, I think it'd be better to know something about the European Union. So my topic today is United in Diversity, the story of the European integration. And as you can see on the whiteboard, my speech is divided into five parts. The first one is historical background of the European integration. And the second part is the common market. And the third is from the EEC to the EU. And then enlargements of the European Union. The last part is Euro, the single currency. As you know, today the European Union is really a large, efficient, and important organization in the Europe, even in the world, which has so many member states, 28. But it was not born to be like this. So first of all, let's know some historical background of the European Union. In the last century, many European countries fought each other in two world wars and millions of people died. Especially the Second World War, which ended in 1945. It had been a time of terrible destruction and killing, and it had started in Europe. Europe's economy was badly damaged, and the map of Europe had to be redrawn as the borders of some countries changed. So, how could the leaders of European countries stop such dreadful things from ever happening again? They need a really good plan that had never been tried before. A Frenchman called Jean Monnet thought hard about this. He realized that there were two things a country needed before it could make war: iron, for producing steel, to make tanks, guns, and bombs, and coal, to provide the energy for factories and railways. Europe had plenty of coal and steel. That's why European countries had easily been able to make weapons and go to war. So Jean Monnet came up with a very darling new idea. His idea was that the governments of France and Germany, and perhaps of other European countries too, should no longer run their own coal and steel industries. Instead, these industries should be organized by people from all the countries involved, and they would sit around a table and decide things together. That way, war between them would be impossible. Jean Monnet felt that his plan really would work if only European leaders were willing to try it. So he spoke about it to his friend Robert Schuman, who was a minister in the Front government. And Robert Schuman thought it was a brilliant idea and he announced it in an important speech on 9th May 1950. So let us say two Frenchmen, Robert Schuman and Jean Monnet, put forward the idea that the two previous enemies, France and Germany, should in future work together in the production of coal and steel instead of using it to make weapons to fight together. So on 9th May 1950, Robert Schuman, proposing set up a club called the European Coal and Steel Community. France, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, and Luxembourg were the first countries to join this club, which was formed in 1952. So this club worked so well that in 1957, these six countries decided to start another club, the European Economic Community, which went on to become the European Union. Aimed at making laws and policies together to improve trade and support farmers. This method of cooperation was later extended to other areas where the club members felt that more could be achieved by working together than alone. So each member country has a voice in this process, and most of decisions are made by both government ministers and the men and women elected by people to sit in the European Parliament. And economic here means something to do with the economy. In other words, to do with money, business, jobs, and trade. So one of the main ideas was that the EEC countries would share a common market to make it easier to trade together. Until then, lorries and trains and barges carrying goods from one country to another always had to stop at the border, and papers had to be checked and money called custom duties had to be paid. So this held things up and made goods from abroad more expensive. So the point of having a common market was to get rid of all those border checks and delays and customs duties, and to allow countries to trade with one another just as if they were all one single country. So it will make EU a big marketplace for all member states based on four freedoms: the free movement of people, which allowing European people to travel but also live, study, or work abroad, and free movement of goods, allowing them to buy and sell products from or to each other, and free movement of services, allowing them to share the skills and expertise we need from each other, and free movement of capital, which allowing them to transfer or invest their money to another member states. So the work of the club members was so successful. The common market was soon making life easier for people in the EEC. They had more money to spend, more food to eat, and more varied things in their shops. And other neighboring countries saw this, and in the 1960s, some of them began asking whether they too could join the club. And after years of discussions, Denmark, Ireland, and the United Kingdom decided to join the communities in 1973. In 1981, Greece became a member, followed by Spain and Portugal in 1986. So now the club has 12 members. And over these years, the club was changing. By the end of 1992, it had finished building the single market, and it was doing a lot more besides. For example, EEC countries were working together to protect the environment and to build better roads and railways right across Europe. And richer countries helped poorer ones with their road building and other important projects. And also to make life easier for travelers, most EEC countries had got rid of passport checks at the borders between them. And the person living in one member country was free to go and live and find work in another member country. The governments were discussing other new ideas too. For example, how policemen from different countries could help one another catch criminals, drug smugglers, and terrorists. In short, the club was so different and so much more united that in 1992, it decided to change its name to the European Union by signing the Maastricht Treaty, also called Treaty on the European Union. And then here comes the recent enlargements of the European Union. Austria, Finland, and Sweden joined the European Union in 1995. And before a country can join the European Union, its economy has to be working well. It also has to be democratic. In other words, its people must be free to choose who they want to govern them. And it must respect human rights. Human rights include the right to say what you think, the right not to be put in prison without fair trial, and the right not to be tortured, and many other important rights as well. And in the following 2004, 10 countries joined the European Union at the same time. They are the Czech Republic, Estonia, Cyprus, Latvia, Lithuania, Hungary, Malta, Poland, Slovenia, and Slovakia. And in 2007, Bulgaria and Romania were welcomed into the European Union and followed by Croatia in 2013, which now has 28 member states. And still more are interested in joining. So never before have so many countries joined the European Union in such a short time. So this is a real family reunion, bringing together the eastern, central, and western parts of Europe. And in years gone by, each country in Europe had its own kind of money or currency. But now there is one single currency, the euro, which all European countries can share if they wish. Having one currency makes it easier to do business and to travel and shop all over the EU without having change from one currency to another. But it took 9 years of hard work and careful planning to introduce the euro. The notes and coins came into use on 1st January 2002. Today, more than two-thirds of the EU citizens are using the euro instead of the old currencies. If you compare EU coins, you will see that on one side there is a design representing the country it was made in, and the other side is the same for all the countries, the map of the European Union. So no matter which euro coins you have in your wallet, you can spend them in any of the 18 countries where people now pay with the same currency, making the Eurozone a club within the club. And 10 member states in the European Union still have their national currencies. So now the European Union is a quite large, efficient, and important organization in the world. And it is based on the rule of law. So this means that every action taken by the EU is founded on treaties that have been approved voluntarily and democratically by all EU member countries. And under the treaties, EU institutions can adopt legislation, which the member countries then implement. We'll talk about in our later chapters. Okay, so above all, a brief introduction of the European Union. That's it. Thank you.